We are live.
Okay. I'm waiting for it to show that it's come up. There we go. It's finally
We're
going.
definitely live.
Okay. All right. Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining me for this last minute put together of a stream. This is what I call, it's streaming because I normally put out a video every week, and I normally premiere it every Saturday, or either Friday or Saturday. But this week I got a new case, and I've been out visiting a bunch of people, and I don't have my video done. In fact, I'm still writing the script. And Lone Wanderer is here. Let's bring Lone Wanderer back in. Hello, Lone Wanderer. So I'm a little behind on that, and I need to feed the algorithm. So I decided to go ahead and do a stream. And I was on Six Pack with Chris Atlee the other day, and something was mentioned that I thought was rather interesting, and I really wanted to talk about it. And so I put together this stream to talk about it. So before I get to what the topic is, let's go ahead and say hello to all our guests and say hello to the chat. So John, why don't you start by introducing yourself?
I'm John Peterson. I create content on The Rage, Nakasuchi's channel. Used to be known as The Raging Atheist. Every Sunday, me and Faye Rahman, Faye the Most Gracious, do the Apostate Alliance on The Rage. Tomorrow, we do it at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. And tomorrow we'll be talking to an ex-Christian, Jake 4D. Our main focus is we talk to ex-Muslims, and even on the shows like tomorrow, we're going to have an ex-Christian. We'll talk about a few stories from the world of Muslim apostasy.
Okay. Chris,
real quick. Wait. I apologize. And also, we just started a new monthly feature in which Godless Granny took part in last month. The Women of Atheism Roundtable. We're going to do that once a month. And the next episode is coming up on the 20th, Thursday, the 20th this month. Jenna Belk will be joining us. Dr. Misha Griffith, SAF.com, Topic Thunder, and Sassy Heathen. All right,
okay.
That's a good lineup.
You should get B in there sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do it every month. So.
Okay, Chris, tell us a bit about.
I'll join. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. Go ahead, Chris.
bit like me. Don't worry. Cool. So yeah, Chris Atlee. I'm also known as Atheist Pastor. I've got a channel which is called Atheist Pastor / Chris Atlee. If you just search Atheist Pastor, you'll find me. I host Friday Night Six Pack, which is where we get 6 people around to have a couple of drinks and solve all the problems of the world, which is always fun. I host a show called Controversies, where I get a flat earther and a conspiracy debunker together to discuss a different conspiracy every week, which is always interesting. We did Bigfoot last week. I do Over and Under over on Steve McRae's channel, which is a political talk show. Because we hold different views, we kind of analyze things and argue a lot. So if you're one of those people who likes seeing someone argue with Steve McRae, that's probably the show for you, because there's a fair bit of that goes on. And apart from that, I do a podcast where I talk to people. I don't know. I always seem to be doing something. I think I spend more time in front of a computer than not in front of a computer at the moment. So combine that with work and yeah.
Okay. Lone Wanderer, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm a Lone Wanderer. I have a YouTube channel where it's called the Lone Wanderers Variety Channel. A little bit of this and that. I have Word of the Day series. I've dabbled in a little ASMR, because apparently that's a thing now. Got to get on the bandwagon. And that's pretty much it. I'm broadcasting to you from an undisclosed location somewhere in the wasteland that was the continental United States of America.
Okay, very good. And B, tell us about yourself.
I can't follow that up, Granny. Okay, so I think everybody in the chat knows me, but I am B. My channel is The Family. I started out as a tiny home channel and decided to try to help people. So I currently do streams about mental health issues and try to break the stigma of it, and at the same time get people to find each other that have similar issues so they don't feel so alone.
Okay.
I don't currently have anything coming up. It's a tough topic. So yeah. So if anybody ever wants to talk to me on air or off air, I am absolutely 100% up for it. And I am on Twitter as well as being mindful.
Okay. About how often do you put something out?
Well, I don't do. I'm actually considering looking into doing some discussion videos about how people react to mental health and how they have to deal with it, instead of bringing people on, because a lot of people are afraid to reveal the issues they have, which, of course, with the stigmas, I don't blame them at all.
Okay.
So I'm looking into doing that. I've recently, in the last month, had a lot of internet issues, so I didn't want to try to do any live streams and deal with that in the middle of it. So hopefully that'll be rectified soon. So.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I want to say hello to people in the chat. And Jer is here. She says she's listening, but she can't respond right now. And Atheist Mo is here. Junk Shop Library is here. Welcome, Junk Shop.
Hey.
And Dave Critical Cripple is here. Bad Tempered Badger is here. KCA Randy is here. And
all the cool people. It's really all the cool people. Like, what? That's a pretty cool chat. I mean, you know, and this isn't me sucking up to the audience, but that is a pretty cool chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, he is one mean badger too.
Great group.
Just don't put me and Badger in a stream about Star Wars, whatever you do.
I asked Junk Shop in the live chat if he wanted to join us.
Okay. Yeah, he is most welcome. And any questions that the chat might have, you know, please go ahead and put them up. And if I don't get to them right away, you know, I might be waiting for a break in the conversation, but I will get to them eventually. Okay. The way that this particular stream came about is this. When I was on Six Pack with Chris Atlee, a comment was made that, well, it was made by Ed, the grumpy old dude, that he would not vote for Joe Biden on principle. And I can certainly understand that, because Joe Biden has said some pretty stupid things. And particularly, Ed has issues with racism. And I get that, because some of the stupid stuff that Biden has said have had to do with racial issues. But, and I was really hoping that Jenny Morgan could be here, because she's one of the people that most needs Biden to get elected. And because Ed lives in Pennsylvania, which is a battleground state, I was thinking, you know, it really is important to convince liberals that are in those battleground states that even if you don't like Biden, you still need to vote for him anyway. And I told Ed, I'll bet in 5 minutes I could convince you to vote for Biden. And my reasoning, let's see if I want to get this up. There we go. And that is my reason why I think all liberals, whether you like Biden or not, should be voting for Joe Biden.
Because he's near death?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Whoever we vote for president is going to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And if Trump is elected president, let me just make sure I'm not sharing screen anymore. Yeah, okay. If Trump gets reelected, he's going to be choosing the replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We are going to throw our Supreme Court into a situation where we are going to be setting ourselves back 70 years on decisions. Anything as far as LGBTQ concerns go, that is going to be going conservative. Anything on women's issues, particularly abortion, is also going to be going conservative. And so even if you hate Biden, if you have any concern for women or people in the LGBTQ community, you need to vote for him anyway. And that's my position. So that's where we'll start from. And what are people's thoughts?
Mind if I jump
Go
in?
ahead. Go ahead. Jump in.
So here's the thing. Several years ago on one of my all-time favorite television programs, South Park, they did an episode about an election, and the two candidates, and I think it might have even been Hillary Clinton, or it might have been like the Obama.
Is it the one where they snuck into the White House to steal everything, or
No. That was after the election, but no, this was prior to a presidential election. And what they did with the candidates is they depicted them as a turd sandwich and a
giant douche.
And a giant douche. That was exactly. So what they're trying to point out is, okay, yeah, they're both bums. We hate both of them, but you got to pick between the giant douche and the turd sandwich, okay? Because that's the job of the voters. Pick the lesser of two evils, and that we're given very much a choice like that this time too. Okay, I'm definitely going to vote for Joe Biden because Trump has shown us who he is in these last 4 years, and we got to get rid of him. Okay, and Joe Biden, there's some things about him I don't like, but he's the lesser of two evils, and he's way the lesser of two evils. So I have no problem with your argument. I agree with you 100%, but I would add to that too. I kind of feel this way a lot of times during elections with the people that, and we could use a third party in this country, okay, but I think a lot of people throw their votes away voting for third parties too. When the stakes are this high for this election, anybody that goes out this election and votes for a third party, I just think they're doing a disservice to the country.
I'm chatting a little bit with Atheist Mo here because he said, I don't like Trump at all. And I asked him what state he lives in, and he said Michigan. And Michigan is another one of the battleground states. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes,
so is. Don't vote against Biden on principle, even if you don't like him too.
So I think I'm about to become the most hated person here.
Go ahead. Give your position.
And I'll be devil's advocate. Now, first thing I'm going to say, and I want to be 100% clear, I am not a Trump supporter. Okay. Absolutely am not a Trump supporter. I am a conservative. Conservative in America and conservative in the rest of the world are two very different things. As far as I'm concerned, the conservatives in America aren't actually conservatives. Most of the time they're just religious fanatics. It's conservative is about less government interference, leaving people alone. So things like, say in Australia, for instance, same-sex marriage and abortion, like the ability to abort, have both been passed under conservative governments. So that's proper conservatism. Now, a couple of things I want to clear up. And I think in the US, it's a very politicized news cycle you get. I know in Australia, we probably get a little bit more balance. There's a little bit of bias depending on who you're watching. But because there's really we don't have any skin in, well, we do have skin in the game, but we don't have as much skin in the game as you'd have over there. So we probably see a slightly more balanced thing. One thing that surprises me a lot is the perception of Trump on LGBTQ issues, because funnily enough, he was actually the first president to ever come into office who supported same-sex marriage. He was during the campaign when he ran. I know they tried to get a bit of a gotcha moment when Caitlyn Jenner wanted to use the female bathrooms in Trump Tower, and they did which one should Caitlyn use, and Trump's response was whichever one Caitlyn feels comfortable using. So I think there is a bit of perception. Now, certainly Republicans in the US don't have the best record when it comes to this, and I think in general that's because of a lot of the religiosity. What I think you're going to find if Trump wins a second term, is that you'll get a very different Trump because he's not trying to be re-elected. Now, he's pandering to the evangelicals at the moment because he needs them to win. Without the evangelicals, if the evangelicals turned on Trump or did just don't vote, Trump's gone. He needs them. So that's why, and Trump's not a Christian. He's not a religious person. It's anyone who's viewed him can see that. So he's pandering. But once he doesn't have to be re-elected, whether he wins or loses, you watch how quickly all those evangelicals are no longer surrounding him. So what I would question is, especially with the Supreme Court, are you going to get the ultra-conservative religious type, or are you more likely to get someone who's a bit more centered? I would argue that there's probably going to be someone a bit more centered. I think presidents, when they're not going for re-election, I think if you have a look at the second term of pretty much any president, it's very different to the first term because of that re-election factor. So I'd question that. Look, Joe Biden to me is, I'm not pro-Trump, but I am anti-Biden. He scares me. Sitting on the other side of the world, he scares me because his record, especially on things like foreign intervention and war, isn't great. And unfortunately for me as an Australian, if you guys go in anywhere, we follow you because that's the ANZUS treaty that's in place. We're actually the only nation that's gone into every conflict with the US since the Second World War. One thing I will give Trump credit for is he's not a warmonger. In fact, he got rid of Bolton, who was trying to get him to go into Iran, intervene. I think at one point trying to intervene for the Uyghurs in China, which why you would go to war with China is it's like mutually assured destruction almost. So there is that concern. I think it's really sad that you've got a situation where you're trying to pick the lesser of two evils, and I think that's a result of the American electoral college, the American electoral system, and that's not something that will change anytime soon. The best hope I can see for America in the short term is third party. We were a two-party system here, and look, we've still got the two primary parties, but we've got these smaller parties that will come in and hold the balance of power, and it tends to ease the extreme rhetoric on either side. There's a bit more negotiation that has to happen. In the US, that would be a perfect situation because you've got two extremes at the moment, and you need to bring everything back to the center.
Okay, I had considered that possibility, and I had been thinking about that. Is there the possibility that if Trump is reelected, that he would become more of a centrist because he doesn't have to pander to trying to get votes again? And it's true that he would not need to pander to try to get votes again, but he still has to pander to Congress, and he still has to please his constituents if he wants to keep any kind of support. Because if he ticks off his own supporters and his own popularity goes way down, his own party will turn against him, and then he can't get anything done in Congress either.
Yeah, but he's also got the power to block anything too. So Congress needs him as much as he needs Congress. So it's if look at Trump's personality type. If Congress turn around and say we are not going to pass a single thing, he'll just sit back and go, I'm not signing a bill for the next 4 years. It'll be a standoff. And Trump's the kind of person that will have that standoff and won't bat an eyelid. Like we're talking about a New York businessman. I mean, he's a New York billionaire. They're a tough breed. It's, love them or hate them. He won't blink.
Speaking of a standoff, the one flaw that I find in your argument is that I don't think Trump will look at it that way if he wins again. Okay. I think he will not be of the mindset, I don't have to be elected again. I think that if he gets reelected again, that he is going to have his minions in Congress and his legal team looking into abolishing presidential term limits. Okay. He's already.
No chance.
Exactly what I was going to say.
No chance. Absolutely zero chance.
That's all he's been talking about.
Okay, well, look, there's absolutely zero chance of it, but, you can say that, but, here's a man who, respects and has fondness for President Xi in China, who just made himself.
Really? No, God, no.
What's that?
Oh, I'd be more. No. Absolutely not. Oh, he's the US and China are in a trade war at the moment. He's gone head to head with the guy.
No. He has expressed his fondness for President Xi on more than one occasion, and the fact that he's the president for life. He even joked one time when he gave a speech, maybe we should try that here in the U.S.
But a joke doesn't equate to.
Well, I know he doesn't have any right to, but
No, but a joke doesn't equate to. I mean, Trump's got a weird sense of humor, but I mean, he's got there's that sense of humor with him. I can assure you, look, Trump will be complimentary to any foreign leader because any politician and any leader of any country who came out and said that I don't like this person, it would be insane. That's not how diplomacy works. So there has to be that mutual respect and things like that. But no, America and China, like you aware what's happening in the South China Sea at the moment, the Taiwan Strait? There's warships facing off against each other.
Right.
There's no friendship there.
I'm not talking about the U.S. versus China. I was talking about how Donald Trump perceives the president of China. Okay, and yeah, the two countries might be at odds right now, but in Donald Trump's mind, he wants to be President Xi. He wants to be president of the United States till he dies. I mean,
that lifelong president. He actually said
he's even
that if he loses, yeah, he said if he loses, that they're going to have to drag him out of the White House. Is exactly what he said.
He also
literally
posted
wants to do that.
Pictures of himself with signs Trump 2020, Trump 2024, Trump 2028, and they keep going to Trump 2040.
No,
I mean, we can.
Yeah,
that's
I know
say-
it can't happen, but that's what he's saying. Let's get a couple comments from the chat.
Yeah.
Bad Temper Badger
we
says,
also thought he was never going to be president. So
right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I won a lot of money betting on him.
Badger says, if
One
I
time I
was
was
a
happy.
citizen, I'd be completely screwed. Trump is a disaster, but I also can't vote for someone like Biden. He doesn't meet the basic qualifiers.
What were the odds when you bet?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
What were the odds when you bet, Chris?
8-1.
Whew. How much
Oh, yeah.
did you put down?
that was a good day. I had $100 on him, and actually, I cashed out before. I think when it got to about 90%, I cashed out and took about 650 because I thought, you know what, that's a nice little. I'm just going to take that. So that was good. That I didn't expect he'd win that easily, but I thought he'd win. It's what you got to remember is with polls, polls anywhere in the world at the moment. Conservatives are afraid to tell a random stranger, and this is a lot of the feedback you get in the US. If someone rings and says, are you going to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump? People don't want to say Donald Trump because there's a fear of hang on, well, this person has called me, they know who I am, they know where I live, Biden, or not voting, or third party, something like that. So that the polls are skewed. The same thing happened with Brexit in the UK. That's what skewed the polls because there's and I think it's an unfounded fear. Honestly, I think it's the media hype things up and beat things up on both sides to the point of ridiculousness. So there is that unfounded fear, but as far as let's be realistic here. Trump is not a young man. Even if there was a third term in place, the guy's a billionaire. I mean, why the hell would he want to run for a third time? I'm surprised he's running for a second term, to be honest. The only way I can see
it's power, Chris. It has nothing to do with money. It's all about power, man. It's how big his dick is.
Wait a minute. She's right. It's power. But it's also money. He's been cleaning up on money since he's been in the presidency too. Okay,
it's cost him. It's cost his brand.
There's no way it's cost him.
This is where we have the problem. I have friends at work, 2 people I work with. They are staunch Trump supporters, and I said to them, "He's an idiot." And they said, yep, but he put the right people in place and I'm making money right now. And these are people that just make 50 to 60 grand a year, but he's making them money. People care more about money than whether the LGBTQ person next door gets rights or whether the black person is put back into the 1940s and 50s or earlier. People are greedy. They want that money, and that's where the problem lies. The people he set into place know what they're doing to make people money. That's what their concern is. And if you are concerned with something other than money, then you're like, what do I do? I'm not voting for this asshole. And then we have Biden with these issues. And if I vote for the third guy who's low on the totem pole, then you're losing the votes for Biden to get Trump out of there because a lot of people aren't going to vote for that third guy. They're so afraid to vote for him that their guy won't win. I was
just going to say the perception here is interesting. It's really I'm learning a lot here on the way things are portrayed and perceptions, because obviously I'm not in the United States, so this is really interesting for me. But sorry, John, I think this is that delay between Australia and the rest of the world.
No, that's okay. I just want to jump in because somebody, you guys mentioned the economy and how well it's going and everything, and I just want to disabuse anybody in the audience from believing that Trump has anything to do with our present day economy. I mean, with the current economy that is down because of coronavirus, yeah, we could put that on him because he mishandled the coronavirus pandemic. But as far as the economy that has transpired since he took office, that was a continuation of the Obama economy. And I get so sick of hearing that Trump has anything to do with the economy. Okay, when Obama took office, the unemployment rate peaked at 10% his first year in office because it was a continuation of what Bush left him. And then from the spring of 2010 until Obama left office, unemployment dropped steadily every month. It was 10% in October of 2009. The month he left office, it was 4.7%. When he took office, the Dow Jones was between 7,000 and 8,000. The month he left office, it was over 17,000. They talked about the GDP gains that Trump had in some of the months that of his presidency. Well, the GDP grew many, many months during Obama's presidency as well. So, people talk about, so 10% unemployment down to 4.7, 7,000 to 8,000, the stock market going to 17,000. If you put it under the analysis, Trump, the economy has continued in those same trends, and I don't see how people want to give credit to Trump.
I hate giving credit to Trump here, but I'm going to correct you on something. The reason that that unemployment spiked under Obama wasn't Obama's fault. It was the global financial crisis. That was a worldwide phenomenon that really it happened everywhere in the world. So that was a global trend. So every country had that situation. I think apart from China, who seemed to ride it out okay.
Bush's fault.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not Bush's fault. It was a global crisis.
Okay.
It's to think that it was of America's doing that. It's like, no offense, but it's American arrogance. It was a global situation. Yeah. It's not. America's a big economy, but it's not the be all and end all. Look, with Trump,
take away from my main point though, that the economy grew and unemployment shrank for 7 years of Obama's presidency, and then it just continued on after Trump took office. So, I mean, the idea that Trump came in and he was some kind of savior and saved the economy is
no. Look, Trump has put in policies that Trump's an old school protectionist. Now, that's good for short term gains in an economy, but it's bad for long term gains because you actually kill off your international trade. Look. Trump basically cost me my business because my business one of my businesses, because it dealt exclusively with the US, buying from the US. It was a product. What happened is Trump's policies came in, the American dollar spiked positively against the Australian dollar, and we've got a fairly strong economy here. But then the cost of doing business in the US for me, it wasn't worth it in the end. But what happened is my customers, instead of buying from me. They just order direct from the US, so that money's gone back directly into the US economy. Which that's all well and good. But look, anyone, every country in the world had those same trends. It wouldn't have mattered who was president. I mean, we went from a global financial crisis. You can't get worse. I mean, it peaked in about 2008, 2009. And look, subprime and things like that were blamed. It came out of, it was sort of in that transition between Bush to Obama, but it wasn't either of their fault. It was a global situation. The global economy tanked fairly quickly. Europe experienced the same trends. In Australia, New Zealand, everywhere experienced the same trends. So that's no one can take the blame or the credit for that. It's like you could have had.
So you agree with me then it's ridiculous to give Donald Trump credit then?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a protectionist. Yeah, no. Look, Trump's not good for his policies are not good long term for the United States. They've been good short term because it's done a temporary spike. But what will happen is businesses overseas will start to look elsewhere. Like if I had the only reason I didn't look for an alternative was because the product I was bringing in, which is comic books, they were only available through one distributor in the US. If I could have got them somewhere else, I would have just changed straight over. So where there's US centric, and I think he's been a little bit clever in a way where a lot of the US centered things he's brought back in, like, the car manufacturing, things along those lines. Okay, he's been a little bit clever, but the thing is that all that happens is, okay, yes, those initial orders for cars, for instance, will be filled and they'll be filled out of the US. But then when people are looking to update in 5 years, they'll go buy Japanese. They'll go buy something else. They're not going to buy American. I wouldn't touch an American car at the moment because they're just too expensive. And that's the long-term effect. So, no, he's not good for the economy. Straight up, he's not good for the economy. But I don't think Biden will be either.
Okay, I want to catch up with some of the comments from the chat. I showed that one from Grumpy Old Dude. Obviously, I was a failure. My intent was to convince him that no matter what you think of Biden, you need to vote for him for other people's benefit. But obviously, I failed in convincing him there. So, but some of the other comments, Junk Shop Library says, we LGBTQ folks are less afraid of Trump himself than of what Pence might be doing behind the scenes. And that's
Pence worried about him.
Yeah, Pence is a real.
He's nuts.
Yeah. He's as bad as the NIFB churches.
For those of you that don't know and are uninformed on Pence, he was very much a part of a group trying to change gay people back to straight people via electric shock therapy, blah, 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 blah. That's what he was known for in the state that he came from before becoming vice president. So, yes, he is largely one of my concerns. Matter of fact, he's more of a concern to me than Trump is because he is a sneaky bastard. How much do you see him saying? He doesn't run around saying stuff. He doesn't hold a bunch of he keeps his mouth shut and he's in the background doing whatever he wants. And I feel like Trump is a very large distraction for the American people. Everybody's so busy hating him, they're not paying attention to what his administration is doing. And I feel like that's a problem.
Yeah, Pence is scary.
And Pence is very much a very active vice president, I think, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's one of my fears as well, Junk Shop. I mean, look, they're already trying to cut off all trans rights. What's next?
Right. And that's why I really wanted Jenny Morgan in here, because when this topic came up on another stream, Jenny's reaction was that if Trump gets reelected, she's moving to Canada and asking for refugee status because she doesn't think she could survive another 4 years of Trump.
I mean, and honestly, it really depends on where you live as well.
Right, it does.
And I'm back.
I
lived in Ohio prior to here, and it was really bad in Ohio. There's a lot of prejudiced people there. And now where I live, it's a very diverse area. Nobody gives a shit if you're purple with polka dots. So I would recommend if he gets reelected, you guys move to a better area because the states will protect you to a point.
Mhm.
That's all I was going to say.
Okay, and laughing with in disbelief says never again. Reagan tax cuts flooded the private sector with money which went into CEO pockets, and they spent it to buy politicians. We went from being the world's biggest creditor to the biggest debtor.
Well, and you know what? The same thing just happened when at the beginning of 2019, Trump's tax cuts went out. Okay. And the very same thing happened not too long ago with the coronavirus virus stimulus plan. Okay. They put, I think it was like $500 billion was supposed to go to small businesses. And so they said it would go to businesses with 500 employees or less. All that money should have went to businesses with 50 employees or less. And the money was gone in like 2 weeks because all these big corporations lined up and took all the money. And, you know, like much like with Trump's original tax cut that was supposed to create jobs and, you know, bring things back to the, you know, businesses back to the U.S. and everything. All they did with the money is, you know, companies did stock buybacks. You know, they put it into bonds. They, you know, they took the money and ran is basically what they did.
Yeah, but the stimulus kept people. It keeps people employed. That's the purpose of it. It keeps people employed.
Yeah, but a lot of these big companies didn't need the money in the first place. It was out of greed. And
Yeah,
a lot
but
of them have actually given the money back.
Well, if they've given the money back, that's good corporate responsibility. But it's there's I feel there's a fundamental misunderstanding of a few things here. With the stimulus, that's designed. Look, any business. So, okay, you're a director of a company. You have fiduciary obligation to the shareholders first, whether you like it or not. It's a legal obligation. So, if you've got that fiduciary obligation to the shareholders, and you all of a sudden see this huge hit and revenue loss, then you have to make cuts. Now, with the stimulus packages, what that does is that's been put in place to allow businesses to continue as per normal and keep those people employed. Because the thing is, if those people all lose their jobs, well, then all of a sudden they're on unemployment. There's less money going through the economy, and to say it would be a disaster, it would be the GFC would be a drop in the ocean compared. It's governments all around the world have done the same thing. It's to throw it at Trump. It's every government in the Western world has done pretty much exactly the same thing in one form or another, because without that, entire economies will collapse. Without that stimulus, if a big business goes broke, how many people lose their jobs there? And then the problem is in 12 months time, when everything's back to normal, hopefully, and we're in a recovery phase, you want that big business there to be able to employ people, and you want businesses to be able to aid in the economic growth.
Well, what about this? Okay, you know, you talk about companies need to survive. You know, people are out of work. What is it that would stimulate a business to be able to grow or to, you know, stay with all their employees employed? Is it to give the corporation money up front? Or does demand make a business grow? It's demand. Okay, so all this trickle down stuff is antithetical to capitalism. Capitalism is a trickle up system. Okay, the money that the masses have, the companies compete for that. Okay, so if you put money in the pockets, I guarantee you, when those $1,200 checks went out to people that made, you know, less than, you know, families that made less than $50,000 a year, all of that money went directly into the economy. Nobody sat on that money. But when companies get money up front from the government, they end up tending to sit on some of that money. They don't put it into their business immediately. They don't hire people immediately. They don't start, you know, producing more products. But if the masses have money to spend, then the companies are forced to grow because there's more demand.
Yep, and how much money do unemployed people have to spend?
Well,
I can answer that question more than I make. Anyways, whole different topic.
Yeah, and look, that's probably a fundamental difference between I guess the different types of economic, and that's probably where we will differ, because being conservative, I am for lower taxes, things along those lines. I'm a believer in trickle down economics. That's probably about a 4 or 5 hour conversation we could have where we're probably not going to agree.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you believe in trickle down economics, though, just real quick, why is it that in this country, at least, I can't speak for your country, but anytime any Republican has been in office from Reagan, through administration since then, they try to trickle down economics, and then the Democrats have to come in afterwards and fix the economy. Trickle down economics is a proven loser time and time again.
No, they don't have to come in and fix it. There's a fundamental ideological difference between them. So Democrats are always going to go one way, Republicans are always going to go the other way. And it's probably not a bad thing that they balance each other out in a way, because I don't think you want too much of either one. I think that when they come in to change things, whoever it is, they tend to go to an extreme before it kind of eases up a bit. But no, I mean, look, there's academic papers and books that have been written and people with PhDs who will argue these points. I'm a believer that history has shown. I mean, look, my I guess area of expertise is I'm a historian. That's what I'm doing my PhD in. But I also majored in politics, and I run business organizations. So I think I've got a reasonable grasp of the economical side of things. But I'll put my hand on my heart and say I understand that I have a bias because I lean to one side of politics, and that's okay. I think that, and that's why you need the two different sides, because I think eventually we balance each other out. But I mean, look, we could probably spend days and weeks and months discussing trickle down economics, and we're probably not going to change each other's minds.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's okay, because it's all right for people to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lone Wanderer, we haven't heard much from you. What are your thoughts?
Well, trying to get a word in edgewise over Chris.
Sorry.
No
I tend to do
no
that.
offense, love. No offense. Yeah, we have to vote for Biden because we have to save the Supreme Court. We just got to, as much as I don't want to, and he's a snake. You've got to save the Supreme Court. And I had all these things, and now I've gone blank. Oh yeah, Chris, you were saying it's corporate responsibility to take the money back, but wouldn't it have been corporate responsibility to not take the money in the first place if you didn't need it?
Well, who can predict what's going to happen in the current economy?
Yeah, and also, like you said, there's an obligation to shareholders, but what if you didn't have any shareholders? What if you were not publicly traded or whatever it is?
It's pretty rare that even in large. I'll use Trump's company as an example. Trump's company isn't publicly traded. It doesn't have public shareholders, but it still has the various family members and other people who are invited to take part in that regard. I mean, look, it's my company. I'm the director of my company. I'm a shareholder. My wife's the other shareholder. I still have a legal and fiduciary obligation to my wife, who is the other shareholder. So if I were to do anything funny, even if my wife didn't object to it, and this is the rules in Australia, it's the same in the US, even if my wife didn't object to it, if I've done something that isn't in the best interests of the business, technically I can find myself in a bit of trouble.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's corporate law pretty much everywhere in the Western world.
Yeah, and you were talking about having in Australia, New Zealand, there's more than one or two parties, but this country's so ingrained. I don't know if you'll ever be able to do the third party vote ever. They are so ingrained in
maybe not anytime soon.
No, I don't think it's no offense to the baby boomers, but maybe they'll have to die, and then.
Oh,
I think.
Thanks.
I think the thing is though, is it the chicken or the egg, and that's the it's chicken or the egg.
And Granny, I thought you were only 40.
No, I'm 59.
I was going to say
I
she's
don't
not
know.
40. She's not that old.
46.
Yeah, I was born in 61.
Oh, honestly, I thought you were 40.
I do look a lot younger than I am. I always have.
Yes.
I always tell people it's a very forgiving webcam.
Stay on top.
What's that, John?
But yeah.
No, I said let's saw her in half and count the rings.
Oh, okay.
Oh goodness.
Let me know how that goes for you. I'll come visit you in jail.
But unfortunately, I won't be able to vote this time. My citizenship won't be through in time, as they're about like a year behind. So
You're not a U.S. citizen?
no, I had to wait, and then life happened. I didn't have enough money to do the citizenship. So actually, that's one good thing about the stimulus. I used it for my citizenship.
Okay.
Oh wow!
It's like $725, and I just didn't have it. So
There's
yeah.
a cost. There's a cost to becoming a citizen. I didn't even realize that.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. there
Oh,
is.
it's expensive. It's expensive
Yeah.
depending on where you're from, what you have to do, what you have to learn. You have to take classes, take huge tests, and learn shit about the government that we don't even know. Like, it's literally
Oh,
deeper than
honestly, the citizenship test is a joke. It's just like, name
Really?
one person on the Supreme Court. How many branches of
Oh, it
government
didn't
do you
used
have?
to be
It's
like
stuff
that.
for a 3-year-old,
Yeah, no, it used to be
Oh.
quite difficult.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I knew
easy.
somebody that became a citizen in 2005, I believe it was. And man, he had to study, and he had to take the test twice because it was so. And this guy was brilliant, brilliant man, and
maybe
he
it
had
is.
to study because our laws and everything are so complicated in our political history.
I was
What's
going to say
that?
maybe it is really difficult, but maybe you're just really intelligent and it seems easy to you.
Or
Well,
maybe
I
they
mean,
dumbed it down
You-
for Melania.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. She got that Einstein
Yeah.
visa.
Well, no, I'm a political science and international relations major, so
That's
cool.
cool.
Oh my gosh! Shut
mean,
the
you
front
know,
door. I really want to hear that.
Talk about that there's money involved. Like, I just wonder if we should change the poem on the Statue of Liberty. Give me your masses yearning to be free, but make sure you bring $700 with you.
yeah. Well,
Right.
that's only
Yeah.
a drop in the bucket. I mean, it cost me
Yeah.
the first fee was like $420. Then I had to pay another $560. Then I paid another $500 again, and now I'm paying $725. So, but
Now-
this is the thing I
Sorry.
don't understand. There's a lot of immigrants jumping the border, and I understand they're coming for a better life. But when you hear how much they pay these coyotes, it's more than what you have to pay for immigration. But I mean, maybe they're just desperate,
Well,
So,
right,
you know-
and then look how long the process has taken you. Much quicker, to pay a coyote.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Stool. I was wondering who that was. It's
Melania.
It's Stool. Hello, Stool.
Melania.
Now I'm going to have to be
You're
I'm going to
right.
have to be rude here. I've got to run.
Yeah, I knew
so
you had to go.
I don't want anyone to think that. Sorry, I haven't met you, but I don't want you to think that you've jumped in and I'm running or going away or anything. Please don't take it personally. I do have to run, but look, really, I've enjoyed the chat.
So real
Yeah,
quick,
it's
we
been
can-
great having you.
real quick before you leave. So
Sure.
if you lived here, you'd be voting for Trump in November.
No,
You wouldn't?
no, oh God, no,
Would you vote for
no.
Biden?
No.
Well, who would you just wouldn't vote?
Would you
I'd
not vote or vote for
I'd-
third party?
I'd vote third party. I think the US needs look. It's not anything that's going to happen in the next couple of years. It's the next couple of elections. But I think if gradually that third party vote increases over time, that's only going to be a good thing for the US. And unfortunately, I'd be looking at it long term. I think they're both terrible. I mean, look, Trump is he's. And as much as I don't want anyone to think I'm sticking up for Trump, I am not a Trump supporter. There were so many better options than Trump. I think the only thing that could sway me to Biden is if he had a sensible VP pick. If he had Tulsi Gabbard in there, if Tulsi Gabbard had got the Democratic nomination, I would have voted for her all day. And even though she's to the left of Bernie, I think that she's the kind of person that you want in there. I like her policies. I don't agree with her on everything economically, but I think she's got a good balance. So if she was a VP, yeah, I'd potentially vote for Biden because I don't think Biden will serve out his term anyway. So whoever the VP choice is, I think will be important. If it's Kamala Harris, you'd have two terrible presidential picks and two terrible vice presidential picks. I mean, because you've got to consider, especially at their age, what if one goes? But no, I'd vote third party. Probably I'd have to look into it, and I'd probably make it a considered vote. I don't know if I go libertarian because I think they're too in the US. They're not really libertarian, and I'm things like universal health care is a no brainer to me. Things like gun rights. The gun laws you've got in America are insane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, I do have to run. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for not bashing me up too much.
Oh, well, thank you. I always am happy to have different points of view. So it's good having you.
Nice
Yeah,
meeting you,
excellent.
Chris.
Yeah.
Good to see you all.
Bye, Chris.
And I think I have a follow-up to that in terms
Okay.
of who would you vote for? Do you think how much do you really think about the vice president when you are going to vote for someone? Like how important is it?
Well,
Just think about
well, to answer your
I feel
question,
like for most,
I was flabbergasted last time by who Hillary Clinton picked. I mean, and I liken it to she just walked out on the street and picked somebody.
I think John McCain's choice of running mate is what killed his candidacy.
Yeah.
I think John
You betcha.
McCain would have.
You
I think he
betcha.
would have been elected if he'd have picked someone decent as a running mate.
Yeah. She was. Oh man.
Yeah, she was terrible.
You betcha.
You betcha. You betcha. And I mean, slamming them Diet Cokes like going out of fashion. Apparently, they spent something like $10,000 on clothes. New clothing for the rally, and it was so bad that they had to bring in someone to teach her about foreign policy, and they said, how far should we go back? And then well, in World War II we had X and Y. Oh my goodness.
But what newspapers she'd read? Oh, just all of them. I just read them.
That was hilarious. Yeah.
See, but that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem we have in the U.S. One of the problems we have is that our media sources are so swayed and so corrupt that you don't know what to believe. And if you go too low and go out of the broad spectrum, you still can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to literally read all of them, find the common denominators across those 6 or 8 major corporations or whatever, major newspapers, and then say, okay, this might be true. And that's people are like, oh, you watch the news? I'm like, why bother? I don't know whether I can believe it or not. It depends on who's
news from outside of the US.
As an outsider.
Yeah, I listen to NPR and listen to the BBC on NPR because it seems like it's more realistic than what the hell they're telling us on our everyday news channels here.
Yeah. And
everybody owns everybody, and everybody's in everybody's pockets, and all the politicians and all the corporations and it's a mess. Pharmaceuticals, all of it. It's ridiculous.
I'm not going to talk over B
because
she's badass and she'll beat me up. So I'll wait till she's finished speaking.
I would never. You're
She
too far
will
away.
beat me up because she's fucking badass. As an outsider, I'm enjoying watching this. I'm enjoying watching and listening to this, and I'm not going to give any input because I'm British. So what the fuck?
I just have one question for you, School.
I think don't never ask me questions because
I have to ask you this question. What was in that big box? What was in the big box?
Oh, did you see my big box? I've not. Oh, God.
Yeah, I was the one who commented.
Phrasing.
I was the one who commented giggity.
Oh, you did giggity. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I love you, my man. Thank you. I get terribly confused because, we can all change our names on these things. It's confusing.
Right.
I love that. You gave me a giggity.
Yeah. Because he said, does anybody want to guess what's inside my big box? And my
Listen.
comment back was giggity.
I know you're lovely, but I literally have no fucking clue who you are.
Yeah, somebody called me out on that the other day. They said, on YouTube, your real name, John Peterson. Why the hell did you pick Is That So on Twitter?
But my picks for VP are
I think we all. Oh, you're going back to serious. Oh, shut up.
Kamala Harris, Tammy Duckworth, and Susan Rice. I don't know if those are the ones I'm backing. I mean, I don't want to. I'm just thinking, thinking along his line of thought. It's going to be one of the three of them.
Can I say my British bit, please? And I
Go
promise
ahead.
Go ahead.
I promise I will keep quiet after this. This particular conversation annoys the fuck out of me. It really does, because I think you American people are stupid. You really are, because as I understand it, you are now arguing about who is the best person to remove the twat. This makes no sense to the rest of the world. It really doesn't.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be in there. I agree.
Well,
I don't
you
know
guys
who
have
in the-
Boris, though.
Yeah, you got Boris.
Do you not? Oh yeah, fuck you, B. But yeah, you're correct, B. Yeah, we've got problems as well, but your problems are so much bigger, and you should not be arguing about who not to support. You should be concentrating on who is gonna fucking destroy the planet. That's your number one priority.
No, I agree. I agree with that, and that's part of what the politicians do here, Stool. The politicians and the powers that be divide us. That's what they've been doing for years. That's how they
Exactly.
control all of this. Because as a whole, if all of the United States got together and said, hey, let's do this together and let's fix this shit, we could do it. But if they keep us divided, we have no power. That's why they keep us divided.
B just made a very important point there. She used the important word divide.
Yep.
And it's happening over here. It's about division.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're divided, you can't win.
Yeah.
I can't concentrate on the topic because all I want to know is why are Stool's knees so unsightly?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Somebody just posted not to let you show your knees on camera.
Well, I think the biggest debate in England right now is whether or not you should get rid of Rule Britannia.
This is not a real thing. I've not shown my knees, have I? I mean, I know.
That's all right. No, you don't need to show your knees. We'll go back on topic.
So, I got a question for the panel. What's election day this year? Is it November
3rd.
November 3rd? So
Thought it was
November 4th.
Whatever's the Tuesday.
The biggest worry for the rest of the world.
Let me finish my question before you
Sorry.
answer. So, first of all, with the way the voting's going this time, the day after the election, will we know who won?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
It's going to depend on how close the vote is. If it's a landslide, yeah, we'll know. But if it's close, we won't.
Well,
Well,
and even if they call it a landslide, they're doing a lot of the mail-in stuff, and they're saying it's good for a week afterwards.
Mhm.
Can they really call? I mean, how big of a landslide does it have to be for them to call it if there's still all these votes out in the mail?
exactly.
It's going to depend on the percentage of each state that's already been counted. If you've counted, 60% of the votes that you have, and you know that there's a certain number of mail-in votes, and they constitute 10% of all of the votes, and if you know that 10% all going to the underdog isn't going to change anything, then you can call it.
Right.
My God. You live in the most undemocratic country on the planet.
If everybody wants to know who's going to win, look at the Electoral College and who's going to be voting, because that's all that matters. Look at Trump and Hillary. It's a prime example. That Electoral College, they move shit. They figure out who's going to vote for who, and they move their districts around so they can. It's a bunch of bullshit. It should never happen like that. It should be by the popular vote.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, Hillary was not my favorite person in the world. but I voted for her because I knew this would be a mess.
Mhm.
And one of the problems I have with Trump is this. I have a problem with Trump because he is also divisive from the entire government. He wants to go his own way and do his own thing. And all that does with the American people is gives them doubt. You should not have doubt. It should be a cohesive effort for the government to do what needs to be done and to take care of the American people and the economy and everything
Permission to
else.
speak.
And because he's so I'm right, everybody else is wrong, it just causes more doubt and fear. I know people that can't even stand to be on social media because they're so freaked out about what their future is going to be. It's ridiculous that we in this society, in this day and age, with what we know and the power that we have as a entire population, that it should even be like this. It's ridiculous.
Well, and Maynard saves in the chat. You know,
Rant over.
He's plus oneing you on everything you just said.
We like rants.
And he here's the thing is, like Maynard Save just posted, that if Trump loses, he's going to do everything he can to extend that. You know, he's going to challenge the whole thing. And, you know, Atheist Pastor wanted to rule out of hand the idea that Trump would do something to try and stay in office longer. But the fact of the matter is, if the election's close, or Trump, whether it's close or not, if Trump decides to dispute it, and then he has this base behind him, you know,
Exactly.
I wouldn't rule out any kind of crazy thing happening.
Exactly. You are making the
Yep.
perfect point here. And this is the really scary thing that I'm assuming you can hear me, but this is the really scary thing, because if the orange shit gibbon gets another 4 years, you guys are going to go through hell. You really are.
Yeah.
No,
Well-
we're already there.
No, you're not. Trust me. But the more scarier thing is if he loses, correct me if I'm wrong, but between when he loses and the next president takes office, you've got a period of, I think, 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about that.
What the hell do you think the orange shit gibbon will be doing in those 3 months?
Dumpster fires.
He's going to
A
be
lot.
trying
Let
to
me just-
funnel
let
money
me-
into himself.
Let
He'll take all the money he can.
He's been
Well,
doing
that's
that.
why I didn't buy it.
He's been doing that since day one.
You're right. You're
Well,
right.
But
Valid.
what-
That's why I
what
didn't
do you
buy
think-
his pastor's argument that he, if he does win, he's not going to be concerned with being elected, so he's going to be more reasonable and everything. No, if he gets reelected, he's going to be exactly what Stool just said he is. He's going to be, you know, the orange shit gibbon even through a second term, and he's going to do what he wants and raise all kinds of hell.
I think the most dangerous thing, I think he's going to win, to be honest. And that will be scary. But even more scary, in my opinion, will be if he loses, and that period in between losing and the next incumbent, 2 months, because he will go shit conspiracy theory crazy, and you know all those Second Amendment people,
Mm-hmm.
the crazies.
With the bear's arms.
Yeah. I'm not
No.
even joking about this.
No, I know. It's
I apologize if I'm if I'm making this sound to be flippant.
Sort of, if I answer that question that's on screen.
Go ahead. That's why, I wanted all of us to go ahead and answer that question.
I mean, here's the thing, Jake. Even if Biden pardons Trump for any possible federal charges, Trump still has a world of hurt coming from New York State. So, and a president
This is
can't
very true. Yeah.
pardon anybody for state charges.
That's
That's
the
right.
important
And
thing.
that is one of the things that is driving Trump to try to stay in office. That's why when Congress was debating how much to give for this next stimulus check, he said, I'm going to push it through because he wants
Yeah.
his votes. Because if he gets
Yeah, he did
kicked
that
out,
today.
his ass is on the line and he knows it.
Yeah, he did that today. He's put it to $400, and he signed the paperwork.
I'll give you 2 words Al Capone.
Yeah,
What is
Yeah.
it?
right.
I didn't
Al
hear.
Capone.
Oh,
Al Capone.
yeah.
That's how New York. Is it state or city? I'm British. I
It's
don't know. Is it New
there's
York
both.
State?
New York City is the largest city in the state of New York, so both exist.
Yeah, it's
But New-
technically
but
New
Manhattan.
York,
New
New York.
New York State is the one that can take him down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Granny.
Yeah,
And that-
Trump, the only
I'm-
person that ever failed at casinos.
Yeah.
That's what he's really scared of. Trump is a very, very scared little boy. He spent all his life being terrified. He's scared of being
Well, he's
caught out.
Yeah.
He's scared of being a
well, he
failure.
spent his whole life being catered to, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. And everybody says, "Well,
And
look at him; he's a successful businessman." If I would have started out with $30-some-odd million, I'd be
Oh,
a successful
yeah.
business person
he
right
was
now too.
never in his
Wait,
life
who the hell
been
wouldn't?
he's never been a successful
Well, that was
businessman.
just that's literally what he started out with when he was like 18, 19 years old. After
Well,
that,
no,
they gave him more money from the trust fund. And I don't know the numbers.
That show his father actually gave him over $400 million in money and assets.
Mhm. Yep.
And,
See,
yeah,
exactly.
and then if you
And he got in.
do an analysis of it, to what he got in the beginning and to what he can claim all he wants that he's a billionaire. He's not a billionaire. Okay. So he doesn't have much more than if he had taken the money from his dad and put it in bonds and earned interest on it. Okay. You
Right.
factor in inflation. He's not really any more rich than he was when his daddy gave him everything.
I'm not going to use the C word
You're right.
on Granny's channel.
What, conservative?
No.
Similar.
Love you, John.
I appreciate that many American people actually don't understand what he is, Trump, and maybe they're not familiar with him other than watching him on a stupid reality thing. He's a lifelong con man, always has been. He's not a businessman. He's not a billionaire. He's a pathological liar. And I'm not shilling. I don't sell things. But if you're interested, listen to the audiobook version of his niece's book. I forget her name,
Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, Mary Trump. I've just finished the book myself.
Have you finished it?
Yeah,
Do not give me spoilers.
I won't.
I'm about halfway through. The audiobook is about 7 hours long, and I'm about 4 hours into it. And I find this very interesting because there's nothing new for me. I know what Trump is. I've always known. But she gives a little bit of a personal perspective on this issue. And also she's qualified in, is she a psychologist?
She's a psychologist. Yeah, she's a psychologist.
So
yeah.
she's not an idiot.
She is.
Yeah. I don't want to suggest that people listen to it because it's boring and people don't have a long attention span. But it is very interesting.
Yeah, basically it's a clinical assessment of Trump.
Well, unofficially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little cheeky secret. Whilst I was listening to this, I actually felt a little bit sorry for Donald Trump.
I did too. I really did.
I never thought I would ever say this.
Why?
No. Without, I don't know.
He's a very damaged child.
Yeah, the parents weren't the greatest. Without spoiler alerts.
Well, and
Yeah,
here's the
exactly.
thing: anybody that grows their hair out, the hair that they have out 6 feet, and then swirls it around their head, and thinks that nobody knows what's going on, that there's something wrong there.
I mean, just shave it off and own it, damn it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
This is the thing that has been puzzling me, because I hate everything about the orange shit gibbon. I really do. But I found myself feeling sorry for him. Because, you know, you can't choose your own parents. And his dad was an absolute C word.
No, he put
You know,
his
but
oldest child in early grave.
But it's your choice as an adult whether to do something about that. My dad was a piece of crap, alcoholic, womanizing, drunk. Almost all of us turned out okay because of my mom. But we didn't follow his lead. I could have. I easily could have said, hey, I want to be like that guy. But I had enough common sense in my head not to do it. And as an adult, I said, you know what? All that racist shit he said, it's so wrong.
All children.
And so I didn't live my life like that. You have to make a decision. Don't get me started on mental health stuff, Stool. You have to make a decision to break the fucking chain.
Is she going to get angry? Oh, no.
Oh, I'll get on a rant. Get me started.
I get scared.
I'll rant.
All wired differently. We're all wired differently, and some children, you know, are able to be strong and make decisions, and others get damaged at an early age.
Oh, absolutely. But if you need help, you seek it. Someone with his ego, which I believe is a false ego, just my opinion. He's not trying to just convince the American people that he's wonderful. He's trying to convince himself. Anybody that knows anything about psychology at all will know that.
Well, have you seen him holding up his executive orders?
You have to say, oh, you know what, I need help, and he'll never admit that. So he'll never get better. He's only going to get worse. Say that again, Alon.
I said, have you seen him holding up his executive orders? He looks like, you know, Mommy, look what I did. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I colored in the lines.
He signs it with that big Sharpie.
Exactly.
I know, that is so ridiculous.
And this is why I actually now do have a little bit of pity for him. I appreciate what B is saying. You know, you can, if you're lucky, maybe you can make a choice. Your dad was bad, your mum was, vice versa, whatever. But he lived a horrible life. I sound like I'm fucking loving him. I feel really sick now. I apologize.
No, it's compassion, you know.
But
Just like Never Again says, compassion is possible, but excuses for his bad behavior is not possible.
I've totally broken Granny's stream. I apologize. She wanted to talk about Biden, and I've broken it again. This is what I do.
Actually, I found it very interesting, Stool, because in the past, the only show I've ever been on with you is Critical Questions. And so I've only heard you being silly. This is the first time I've seen the serious side of you.
I literally do not know who the fuck you are.
He is a very stable milking stool.
That's right.
He is. There's three legs, not two. Three.
But you know, this is the art of conversation. It goes from one topic to the other.
I do love this. This is my thing. But I don't know who the thing is that's talking to me, because Granny's made all the things pink, and my eyes can't see pink, so. Oh, you're Stephen McRae.
Oh.
So actually, Stool, you're actually helping Granny's cause, because Granny's cause is to get people to not vote for Trump. So you're helping. Go right ahead, sweetheart.
Actually, no.
Okay.
My real cause is to get people to vote for Biden, because if if you just don't vote for Trump, but you go and vote for a third party, we're going to end up with Trump.
Right.
And that's why
Because you're
I want
gonna
to
have-
convince people to vote for Biden, so we don't end up with Trump again.
You are going to.
Yeah,
end
no,
up
you're
with
absolutely
some-
right, because you're going to have that 1/3 of whatever the population voting for Trump, and then you're going to have the other third voting for Biden, and then the other third. So what's going to happen? You know, the numbers are not going to. It's going to be more like a quarter voting for the.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is, unfortunately, it doesn't break down that way. You know, if people vote.
Wouldn't
for
that
third
be great?
parties, you know, I mean, and I'm convinced that factions of the Trump campaign are the ones that went and convinced Kanye to, run his pseudo campaign.
Yep.
Because all the votes he's going to get,
Oh, that was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there'll still be some idiots writing him in.
No, I know what you're
Sam
going to
is
say,
right.
John. He's going to take votes away. He's going to take votes away from Biden or whoever else, and give Trump. Trump's numbers are going to be higher because there are going to be too many, more divisions. It's going to be too divided. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was my entire purpose in doing this stream, is that to convince liberals who don't like Biden that we need to vote for him anyway.
Yeah, it's not
Even
good
if you
enough
don't
that they
like
don't
him.
vote, that they just don't vote for Trump. Brandy's
Exactly.
right. They have to vote for Biden.
Hmm.
You have to pick, going way back to the beginning of the stream. You've got to, I'm sorry, but you've got to pick between the giant douche and the turd sandwich.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who's the douche and who's the turd?
I would say at this point that Trump is the giant douche and Biden is the turd sandwich.
Well, he's
I don't
clean
know.
in
You can
China.
clean with the douche. You can't do anything with the turd sandwich.
Permission to speak, Granny, please.
Go ahead.
You've got two options. As the guy in the middle just said, with the hat on. I really
That's
cannot
John
read
Peterson.
your names.
That's
apologize,
John.
I can't read. Granny's made everything pink and I can't see your names.
I'm fine with guy in the middle. That's fine.
Yeah,
Guy
his
in the
name is
middle.
John.
I'm now going to call him guy in the middle. You've basically got two options. A shit sandwich with sugar or a shit sandwich without sugar. That's what America is now facing. It's as simple as that. There are no third choices.
Well, yeah, for there to be a choice, it'd have to be three options.
If you want to dwell upon things such as, I don't know, the climate change and sugar and fat people or whatever random thing you want to dwell on, now is not the time. You can do that later. Your priority now is to get the orange shit gibbon out of office.
Exactly.
That's
You've
your
given that
number
is
one
what I'm
fucking
trying
goal.
to do. Exactly.
And you've got to
Still-
stop talking about liberals and the progressives and all those stupid words that you use. It's binary. Get him out or keep him in. It's really that simple.
You keep saying gibbon, and now I'm in my mind doing do the funky gibbon.
Who is this? I don't know who this
That's the lone
person is.
wanderer.
I don't know who the fuck you are. But I do love that song. And why do you know it? Because you're American.
I'm not American. Well, I am American, but I'm not American. I'm an immigrant.
Not officially.
I'm not
What?
officially.
She's applied for citizenship, but she's not a citizen yet.
Why do you know that song?
Because my nan used to play it all the time when we were growing up.
Oh my gosh. These American people will not know what the fuck you're talking about.
What about the Ying Tong song? Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, get a lipo.
I want to do the funky gibbon with you.
Yes, I would so do that on a stream. I would.
Funky Gibbon. Huh? So, unfortunately, Granny, I don't want to fall asleep on your stream. So, I'm going to head out, and I just say something in closing. Is one, come on over to the Rage tomorrow and join us for the Apostate Alliance at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S.
Okay.
Hat boy.
Yeah.
Can
And
you
a-
get some? Can
And a
you
fellow
get somebody?
that was in the live chat tonight, Jake 4D, he's going to be our guest tomorrow. And then I just want to ask all of you. I already follow the Stool. B, what are you on Twitter?
I think I'm being mindful. I'm in all of Math Pigs groups. I'm in all that stuff.
Being
can-
mindful.
Can't miss
You
me.
can
How about
follow.
you, Lone?
You can
Are you
follow
on-
B
are you
by
on Twitter?
doing hashtag.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter under Wanderers Bunker, but I'm in all of Math Pigs groups as well. So,
Mon-
and I talk to you all the time, Stool.
Wanderer's Bunker, you said?
Yep, Wanderer's Bunker.
And being mindful. I think I might already follow you. I don't know. But when you
I
say
believe we do.
when you say all of Math Picks groups, what you guys have like different group chats or something?
We've got a couple of group chats going. Yeah, John's
Yeah.
not in the group chats, so yeah.
Well, I could be if somebody sent me a link.
Right, we could do that.
So
I'm
anyway,
not-
I'll get you. I'll get you into his Twitter group.
all right. Thank you so much. And nice meeting you, Stool. I've interacted with you on Twitter a little bit. Nice meeting you, B.
Same,
Lone
John.
Wanderer. And thank you so much, Granny, for allowing me to come on tonight.
Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate your help with this because I kind of drew this together last minute, and I thank you for coming.
Vote
Yeah,
by
thanks, man.
by 2020. All right, later, folks.
Yes.
Later. I'm telling you, though,
Please save us. Vote for Biden.
if
Yes.
Trump wants any help moving out, I'll help him get out before his lease is up. You know,
Oh my God.
I'll throw the shit out on the lawn
No
like he
doubt.
did to all those people, and
Yeah.
I'll sit in the car.
Yeah,
and
I
laugh.
like
exactly.
his heart. I
What's
liked
that?
his heart.
Yeah, his hat was great.
He had a nice heart.
He does have a hat. He does have a nice hat.
Well, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes now, and so I
wow.
think it is probably time for us to go ahead and close this up. But and I did achieve the goal that I wanted, which was basically to convince people that as John said, we've got two bad choices, but we've one choice is clearly worse than the other, and so we've got to take the lesser of two evils.
It's true.
All right.
It's just
So-
like on the movie Master and Commander, the lesser of two weevils.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that your?
Well, thank you, Granny, for having
Was that
us all
your-
on, and
was
I
that your
appreciate the
aim?
topic. So, thank you.
Yeah, shut up, angry lesbian. Shut up, I'm talking.
You know what,
Granny,
Stool?
Yeah, fuck you. Granny, was that the
You don't have to
object
write
of the exercise to convince people?
Yes. The
Because
point of
when
the
you said
exercise.
this, when you said this in wherever, I was kind of scared because I thought you were going to say, "Oh, let's discuss Biden and his pros and cons." That's not a good thing to do.
Okay.
It's you've summed it up. Lesser of two evils.
Mhm.
Anyway, I interrupted the angry lesbian, so continue, B. Go ahead.
No, Stool, you helped in her cause just fine because, you definitely
scares me
point
so
out
much.
reasons why not to vote for Trump on top of the 5 million we already have. But no, I was just going to thank Granny for having us all on and bringing up this topic. It was definitely something that needed to be talked about. And I appreciate you inviting me on too. So thank you,
Well,
Granny.
thank you and thank you for filling in at the last minute. Yeah, I put this panel together, some last night, some this morning, and then an hour before the stream, a couple people dropped out, and I was looking for people last minute, and so I appreciate you filling in.
Well, I'm glad you scraped the
Anytime,
bottom
dear.
of the barrel with me.
Yeah, you too, Lone
Yeah.
Wanderer. This is the first time I've had you on my channel, and it has been great having you. I didn't realize that this was your area of expertise, so I do politics every now and then, and when I do, I will make sure to ask you again.
I'd be happy to help.
Okay, so
Awesome.
before we go, let's let everyone have a chance to shill. B, go ahead and say any final thoughts and anything you want to shill for.
Like I said, I don't have anything currently coming up. If there's anybody out there that wants to talk and wants a open-minded ear, holler at me, Twitter, wherever. I can give an email if necessary. I don't have any problem doing that. Hit me up on Twitter and we can talk. And I just want to help people. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's it.
Okay, Lone Wanderer.
Yeah, if you want to know a different word each day, I've dropped a link to my channel there in the chat. And about
I
one
get it
o'clock-
now. You're
Yeah,
the word of the day
exactly.
person.
Exactly. So about 1 o'clock every day, 1 o'clock Central, the word of the day drops. This month, August theme is words from Roman Greek antiquity, and next month is Sextember. So
Oh.
hopefully you'll have fun with Sextember and go on some different journeys other than literacy. So yeah, that's me.
Okay.
That's
So-
excellent, and I always miss yours. I'll try to catch the next one.
Yep, go ahead.
Stool, anything to shill for? Any final thoughts?
Oop, he's junk shopping.
Oh, okay.
See, it's in the Urban Dictionary now.
That's right. Especially since we've got junk shop in the chat, we can talk about it.
I know, right?
Oh, there he's back.
I was watching a live stream of junk shops the other day, and he started glitching, and everybody was like, "Junk shop, you're junk shopping." It was
Mhm.
hilarious.
See, yeah, I was trying to tell junk shop it's not their computer, it's their internet connection, but they won't believe me. So
Mm.
No, that's the problem I have, honestly. You know what the problem I have? My download is amazing. My upload is 3.
mm-hmm.
That's
I
the
hear ya.
problem I have. So I'm actually looking at moving to a different location. I have some friends that supposedly have better internet. They're upgrading their internet so I can move there. So soon everything will be hopefully greatly improved.
Okay. Well, and thank you to everyone in the chat that came. And, thank you for making this a successful stream. And I appreciate all the questions and comments that we got from the chat as well. And everyone have a great weekend and live your life.